Hello, everybody, and welcome to Old Line State Politics. It's me, your favorite Marylander. Now, today we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and his way to the presidency, his paths to victory. But before we start the video, I want to ask you all to please subscribe if you have already not. And I want to say thank you all for 254 subscribers. For all of you out there who have already subscribed, thank you very much. It means a lot to me and to this channel. So if you guys are liking my content, consider subscribing. And also, if you guys like this video, hit the like button. So today we're going to be talking about Donald Trump and his way back to the presidency. You know, Donald Trump lost his re-election in 2020 to Joe Biden in a semi-blue year. It was more of a purple year, but the Democrats picked up the United States Senate, they won the presidency, and held the House of Representatives. And they picked up, or I should say, they held a few gubernatorial races in the 2020 presidential election cycle and just the election cycle around the whole political spectrum, and they did very well in 2020. They increased, or I should say, they lost some margins that they saw in the U.S. House of Representatives from 2018, a completely blue wave year that we hadn't seen in a while because there was not a Republican president. But even with Donald Trump's win in 2016, he was able to put the political spectrum for the Republican Party into play with having the Republican-controlled House of Representatives and the United States Senate. He was able to get a lot done in his first 2 years. The only thing that he was not able to accomplish was appealing Obamacare, and that was partially due to many so-called rhino senators in the United States Senate. But nonetheless, in 2020, Joe Biden won the presidency, as we can see here. If we look, Joe Biden won with 306 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 232. And in 2016, Donald Trump won against Hillary Clinton with 306 electoral votes to Hillary Clinton's 232. So a complete flip-flop of the Electoral College map. In 2020, Joe Biden flipped Arizona, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Georgia. All those states voted for Donald Trump in 2016. Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania are the states that pushed Donald Trump to the victory of the presidency, the ones that had flipped for the first time in a very, very long time. They had years of Democrat voting on the presidential level and the Electoral College standpoint, and Donald Trump was able to appeal to the voters and flip the states. As we see in Wisconsin, Joe Biden won with 49.45% to Donald Trump's 48.82%. In Michigan, Joe Biden won with 50.6% to Donald Trump's 47.8%. And in the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Joe Biden won with 50% to Donald Trump's 48.8%. These states were flipped from 2016, and in Georgia, a flip. For the first time since 1996, Joe Biden was able to win here with 49.47% to Donald Trump's 49.24%. So, with this map right here, Donald Trump has an uphill battle to win against Joe Biden, with Joe Biden being unpopular in his approval rating and have a lot of baggage on his administration. Donald Trump still has a lot of ground to climb, a lot of an uphill battle. So right now I'm just going to fill in all the safe states for Donald Trump, what it would look like, and how his campaign would have to do to win these states, or I should say how well he would have to do across the country to make this map competitive. So we have all these safe states that we're going to include, and I'm going to start including Iowa as a safe state. Mississippi, Alabama, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, and now Ohio is going to be a safe state because of Donald Trump's recent visits to East Palestine and Joe Biden taking Ukraine over East Palestine and going to go to Canada, making those other countries a priority more than a state in the United States is a very bad thing to do, especially if you're trying to get reelected in a very competitive state or even in a competitive race, as you can see, because since Ohio is a Rust Belt state, Joe Biden still needs to do well in Ohio, even though it's a very conservative state now and it tends to vote for the Republican Party. Donald Trump won it in 2016 with 8.1%, and in 2020 he won it with 8%. So Even though Joe Biden might not have a clear shot of victory in the state of Ohio, he still needs to try to at least make some margins, make a difference, and reach to those voters. But as of right now, I think it's going to be over 11 points for Donald Trump. Now, moving on, we have Joe Biden's safe states. Now, this isn't going to be necessarily a prediction here. This is more going to be like what if, or how Donald Trump could win if he were to. So, New Jersey, Connecticut, Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, New York, Maine's 1st Congressional District, Illinois, and Colorado, all safe for Joe Biden. These are states that did vote in 2020 to the left a significant amount, as you can see in on the map here. As we can see, it voted for Joe Biden. Colorado did with 13.5%. So when Colorado just in 2016 voted for Hillary Clinton for 4.9%, not even a likely margin. That was a massive, massive shift to the left. So moving on, we have Donald Trump's likely states. These are going to be Texas, Florida, and that is about all. I'm sorry. Maine's 2nd Congressional District will also go to Donald Trump at a likely margin. So that's how it sits right now. Donald Trump in his likely states, and for Joe Biden's likely states, you have Minnesota, Virginia, New Hampshire, and New Mexico. So those are all the likely states for Joe Biden and Donald Trump. As you can see, New Mexico voted for Joe Biden with a very considerable amount of 10.8%, a likely margin, just shy of 11 points, which would make it a safe margin. So moving on, we can go to both of the lean states. Donald Trump's lean states is probably going to be, the first one is going to be Nevada. So Nevada has recently banked very hard to the left. To the right. And the Democrat Party in the state of Nevada took a very big blow when you saw union workers petition and say they're going to be leaving the Democratic Party, going to go with the Republicans, and that really pushed the Nevada GOP to the point that they are now, where Joe Lombardo is the incumbent governor. They have done very well on the gubernatorial and statewide elections. And even though they lost the Senate seat, Republicans did, against Catherine Cortez Masto in 2022 and the 2022 gubernatorial election, Nevada is still turning to this red state again. It's coming back to the right. It took a very hard dive to the left when Obama came into came onto the stage, the political stage, and now it is going back to the Republican Party. So moving on, we can go to the state of North Carolina. This state is going to go to Donald Trump with around 1.5 points, roughly. This is give or take. So with Joe Biden's lean states, we can probably put Arizona, as of right now, as a lean margin. I'm going to say 1 to 1.5 points, considering the fact that Katie Hobbs won against Donald Trump's handpicked candidate, Kari Lake. Blake Masters won again. Mark Kelly won against Blake Masters. And the fact that Arizona is trending more and more to the left, I think we can see Joe Biden winning with a lean margin. Moving on, we have the state of Michigan. Also, I forgot to categorize Maine at large. It's going to be a likely margin. Michigan will go to Joe Biden with a lean margin of 3 to 3.5 points. I think that the Michigan GOP, Michigan's really gone for the GOP at this point, in my opinion. The next state we can go to is Donald Trump's lean states, and I think that it's safe to say Wisconsin is going to be around there. Now, Donald Trump has to win Wisconsin either by a lean or a tilt margin to be able to win. Now, as of right now, I do see Wisconsin going with a lean margin for Donald Trump. It could very well be a tilt margin for Donald Trump, but we're seeing that Wisconsin is going to play a key and critical role into Donald Trump winning the presidency again. So right now we're tied, 251 for Donald Trump, 251 for Joe Biden. We have Georgia and Pennsylvania outstanding, and both of these are going to decide the election. So we're going to throw around a few scenarios right here. If Donald Trump is able to pull out a victory in Georgia, he still cannot win. So it brings him up to 267. Joe Biden's at 251. If Joe Biden wins Nebraska 2nd Congressional District, let's just say by a lean margin, okay? And then he wins Pennsylvania by, let's say, a tilt margin. This brings it to 271 for Joe Biden, 267 for Donald Trump, and Donald Trump does not win. He gets much closer than he did in 2020, but it's still not enough. So what needs to happen here? This is how Donald Trump has to win. Joe Biden can get Georgia, okay? Give it to Joe Biden. But you have to give Pennsylvania to Donald Trump for him to win. In this scenario, Donald Trump wins with 270 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 268. Now, you can argue with a lot of these states and say that if Joe Biden really suffers in these next 2 years, this next 2 years of his administration, and Donald Trump has a boost in all aspects, yes, he could win Arizona. Okay, he could win Georgia. Okay, let's just put these in likely colors. He could win Georgia. He could win Arizona. He could win Pennsylvania. Okay? Excuse me. He could win Pennsylvania. He could win Michigan. Okay? He could win Wisconsin. All right, that brings him to 312. He could lose Michigan. Okay? He could lose Arizona. Okay? Win Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, and Nevada, and still win with 286. But as of right now, as we are looking at the Electoral College standpoint, as we are seeing the way that the Biden administration and Joe Biden is combating his reelection campaign if he runs, and how these next 2 years of the Biden administration look, as of right now, this is the most realistic map we see, with Donald Trump winning with 270 electoral votes to Joe Biden's 268. This is where my current map sits, where Arizona goes for lean for Joe Biden, Nevada goes lean for Donald Trump, Wisconsin goes lean for Donald Trump, Georgia goes tilt for Joe Biden, Michigan goes lean for Joe Biden, and Pennsylvania, out of a squeaker, comes on top for Donald Trump, and he wins here with a very, very small margin, 0.15%. This is how Donald Trump's easiest path to victory is. 270 electoral votes, just barely, he wins by the minimum with 270. So, as of right now, this is the most realistic map. Joe Biden loses re-election, Donald Trump wins a second non-consecutive term. You can argue with many of these states like I just said, and I'd like to see what y'all have to say in the comments. So with that being said, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and if you guys want to see more, hit that subscribe button. And if you guys enjoyed, hit the like button. We will have more videos coming out in the future, live streams, and political commentary. So if you like that, consider subscribing. And with that being said, thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.